The Pattern Constructor program, the part of Julivi complex, offers a full range of possibilities for a designer job in pre-production. It allows to complete patterns digitizing or patterns import from the designer program, patterns reconfiguration, modifying a pattern, technical grading, patterns checking, seams creation and modification, creation of lining, inner lining, and accessory pieces, macro commands creation, patterns verification after basic blocks or measurement table, technical documentation creation. Patterns digitizing. Patterns of a certain size may be digitized, as well as entire graded pieces sets, including sets with intermittent increments. Pieces points input is performed by a simple button click on the digitizer's cursor. For the gradient increment, only 2 pieces of different size are enough, and an entire set is created by the computer. Technical grading of patterns. Grading is performed by size, height, and corpulence. We call out the grading table, fix the set of gradual increments for intermittent grading. We join the points with similar increments on one or several pieces in order to grade simultaneously all connected pieces. We designate X and Y coordinate for all increments in all grading bands. In case of gradual grading, only one size's position needs to be designated. Table has the function for points increments copy that offers to create the basic models catalog and grade new constructions using graded similar ones. For instance, working in the shifted coordinates, it is possible to transfer the increments from graded typical construction with classic sleeve to construction with raglan sleeve. After size grading, we changed the height grading regime, set new point groups, and designate increment values. Then, we shift to corpulence grading. Thus, we get full pieces grading set. In other words, all we need for grading is to designate certain pieces points and fill the grading table according to the appropriate grading scheme. It is possible to set construction compliance with appropriate graded basic construction or appropriate measure table. We will talk about it in more detail later. So, now we have full pieces grading set. It is possible to treat the set parts separately by sizes, height, and corpulence. The program offers regime for additional auto grading using the value of nearest increment. The program also performs auto constructing of pieces set. Designate 2 sizes of a set and all intermediate sizes of gradual set will be built. For intermittent gradation, designate the bounds of its gradual bands. It is also possible to get a smaller or larger set size by designating any 2 pieces. Basic patterns input from the Designer program. Basic patterns, which were created in the Designer program, are entered in the Pattern Constructor program to perform modeling of face, lining, inner lining, and accessory pieces. Both programs operate with the same information. Thus, the Pattern Constructor program reproduces all patterns reconfigurations performed in the Designer program. Construction synchronization with the basic pattern or measurement table. In order to synchronize the construction after a basic pattern, the data transfer from the Pattern Constructor program to the Design program must be carried out. Now, execute the piece's information transfer. In the Design program, an appropriate basic pattern has been chosen preliminary. Pieces of the working pattern are input right into the project of the appropriate construction. Now, superpose the pieces that belong to the treated construction with the ones belonging to the basic source. Execute points and sector shift operations, thus synchronizing work pattern configuration for the graded basic pattern with pieces of the treated construction. Such synchronization may be carried out to link the work pattern to a certain composition algorithm and to a certain grading basic pattern. For instance, to standard grading for typical female, male, and children forms. Synchronization allows to change the initial data for composition, measure data or increments, in the Design program, as well as in the Pattern Constructor program after transferring processed pattern pieces data. Now, any construction recomposition might be made using the renewed data. Now, the Pattern Constructor program may retrieve this work pattern like a project made in the Design program. In order to synchronize a work pattern after the measuring table, input this table using the size basis program or use existing basis, for instance, standardized typical forms. In the Pattern Constructor program, transfer the chosen work pattern pieces data into the Design program. Work patterns reach the open project with the initial data in the Design program, which correspond with an appropriate measuring table. Now, obtain the actual measuring data, for instance, the skirt length. Shift the pieces fragments in all sizes after the difference between the actual and desirable measures, and get the pattern graded precisely according to the desirable measuring table. Now, the Pattern Constructor program may retrieve this construction like a project made in the Design program. Modifying. One can trace several operations of modifying on the example of a lady's jacket, such as dart shifting, working process in shifted coordinates for dart shortening, drawing of raglan modeling line, screen copies of shoulder, armhole, and throat superposed with the sleeve, drawing of the lapel internal line and unfolding it, assembly of the front piece from the sectors of end pattern drawings and internal contours, placing the dart central point and determining the